something a little different today, a little live video for you. So it's going to be 5 reasons why wrestling fans are losers. This might be controversial, but I'm just giving the facts of the matter, people. I'm not trying to insult anybody. I'm just trying to be fair and unbiased. So let's just get right into it. Number one, the time it takes to consume wrestling. And let me preface this by saying, by wrestling fans, I mean people that continuously watch it, that watch it every week, that spend hours and hours and hours per week watching this and consuming this. The time it takes is ridiculous. You're gonna probably spend 10 to 15 hours uh, per week watching this shit. The average person in life has responsibilities. They have a family, they have a job to go to, they have kids, they got a house to maintain or an apartment or whatever the fuck. Like, how can you reasonably spend 10 or 15 hours a week watching this shit if you're a functioning member of society? If you're a loser, yeah, you do have 10 or 15 hours per week to watch this shit. But if you're not, then you're gonna spend you're gonna have enough time to watch wrestling. Back in the day when I was watching it, I honestly do consider myself a loser because I was spending so much time, just hours and hours, like literally rotting my brain out. Time that I could have spent doing more productive shit. So number two, wrestling fans do not have any critical thinking skills. What do I mean by this? Let me use an example. When R-Truth got released, you had everybody on the IWC going apeshit. Oh, R-Truth is released. Oh my God, fuck Triple H, fuck WWE. So they just went right into that rant right away, right into that mindset, that fucked up mindset right away. They didn't think about a million other questions that need to be answered about this. They're not coming at it from a business perspective. So, did they ask the question, well, how old is R-Truth? What were the circumstances behind his release? Did he want to be released? What more does he have to bring to the table? How much is his contract? Are they going to bring him back with a Legends deal? So all these questions, and a lot more, honestly, all these questions were not asked by the IWC. They just went right into their thoughts. And again, just zero critical thinking skills from most members of the IWC. Number three, when it comes to wrestling, again, this is just a fact of the matter. I don't mean to insult anybody, but it's going to make you a lot less unattractive when it comes to women, people. If you're seriously dating somebody out there and you drop the bomb on them like, hey, I'm a wrestling fan. I spend 10 hours a week watching WWE. I watch Raw, I watch SmackDown, I watch the pay-per-views. Most likely the woman is going to be turned off and she's going to fucking ghost you, people. That's just a fact of the matter. Like, most women out there do not, get attracted by men that watch wrestling. You're going to be considered a loser in the eyes of many women. And you might say, well, wrestling's a real hobby, things that you think should be are not. So you got to live with reality, people, okay? And if you're out there thinking, well, I'll just find a woman that watches wrestling. I'll find a woman like me. Again, I don't mean to be, mean. I'm just saying the facts, people. Most women that watch wrestling, all about 12 of them, are unattractive. They're not attractive, people. Let's just be honest. Most women that watch wrestling are pretty ugly, if we're, being honest. If you look at their profile pictures on Twitter, they're not too impressive. A lot of them don't have profile pictures because, again, they're not, they know that they're not that attractive. It's going to be very hard for you to find an actual woman that's a good woman and, somebody that you're going to be attracted to that watches wrestling. It's very, very rare that it's going to happen. Yeah, women that watch wrestling are probably not women you want to spend your life with. Again, just being honest. A lot of times too, I find the women that watch wrestling are very weird. They have social anxiety. Not. Again, I don't mean to be mean. I'm just being honest, people. Next one, number 4. Wrestling fans are slobs. I mean, do you ever watch the wrestling on TV, and you look into the audience, and and you just see people, and they look like slobs. They don't. They look like they haven't washed their clothes in a week. They're probably people that they just throw their clothes on the ground in their bedroom and pick it up and smell it to see if it's clean. They look like they haven't showered in a week. They probably have really bad BO. Wrestling fans, just a lot of times they're, most of them are overweight or obese. They just really, just in general, don't look like they take care of themselves. They just don't look like functioning members of society. I mean, if you look into the crowd, they don't, they're not probably, again, they're not successful people because they spend all this time watching wrestling. And you might say, oh, well, Ruthless Ranter, I know this one person that makes 100 grand a year and, he watches wrestling. Guys, I'm talking about on average. I'm not talking about an outlier. I'm talking, and again, this goes back to, wrestling fans have no critical thinking skills. They'll take an outlier and try to use it to prove a point. I'm talking about on average people. You look into the crowd, you're not going to see people that look like they're successful or that, they're winners in life. They look like slobs, overweight, not well kept. And the last one that I'm going to get to is wrestling fans are sheep. Meaning they lick their finger, they stick it up in the air and see which way the wind is blowing to make up their opinion. They don't formulate any opinions of their own. They got to go on Twitter or go on YouTube and see everybody else's opinion on a wrestler or a segment or a match or whatever, and then they formulate their opinion to match the opinion of everybody else in the IWC, of all the other losers in the IWC. And this is another great example of this is John Cena, right? So 10 or 15 years ago, everybody hated John Cena. Everybody in the IWC fucking hated John Cena worse than fucking Hitler. I mean, everybody was calling Cena the worst wrestler ever. And a lot of that was justified. A lot of that was correct. I mean, Cena was a big stain in the history of wrestling. His gimmick was terrible. He buried a lot of up and coming wrestlers, and he was shoved down our throats for years and years and years on end. He presided over one of the worst eras of wrestling, the PG era. So a lot of that hate was justified. Then you flash forward 5 or 10 years later, when Cena became a part-timer, and not much had changed, and people just all of a sudden, everybody loved him. Everybody loved fucking John Cena, just all of a sudden. And just in WWE in general, again, like 5 or 10 years ago, everybody hated it, and then Triple H took over, and now it's like the greatest company ever. It's like everybody in the IWC thinks on one accord. They don't have any personal opinions. Everybody seems to think the same, and they seem to go along with what the group is thinking. So, again, people, those are my 5 reasons. I'm not making this video out of any joy or I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just making this video because I think it needs to be made. I was once a person that consumed hours and hours and hours of wrestling. And I was ashamed, looking back at my life when I was, like 18, 20 years old, like I was honestly, ashamed of myself that I spent so much time rotting my brain cells out watching this shit. But, I matured, I was younger back then, I matured, and now, I might do a video on YouTube, I might check out a segment on YouTube that I see. But it's not my life. Like, I got other responsibilities in life. I got a job and shit, and other things to do. So I don't waste my life away now. I've matured, but there's so many people in the IWC and people that watch wrestling that haven't matured, that continually rot their brain out watching this shit. So yeah, I mean, I don't mean to be mean. But it's like, as you grow older, you graduate from watching wrestling. You get other hobbies that don't consume your life. I mean, there's many shows on Netflix that, you watch a season and it might take, 5-6 hours to watch that. That is a week of wrestling right there. So there's like other shit that you can do in life that's not going to fucking consume your life from week to week. But wrestling, it does. And again, I'm ashamed. Like I should have done more productive shit back in the day. But I can't change that. And in wrestling, it's an addiction, kind of. It really is. It's kind of like anything. It's like alcohol. It's like gambling. People that have the addictions of gambling, alcohol, and drugs. They're not going to tell you while they're in the addiction that they're fucked up. They're gonna make excuses and shit, and they're gonna say, "Oh, it's okay, it's not bad. It's I just do it for fun, whatever." But when they finally get out of the addiction, they come to their senses and like, yeah, I was really fucked up for doing that shit back in the day. And that's kind of what I'm like. I'm very fucked up for spending hours and hours and hours of my life watching this shit back in the day. And the more that I've matured and gotten older, the more that I realize like for the average person out there, like wrestling's not the best hobby to have in life. Like there's a million other things to do in life other than watching wrestling. So there you go, people. There's my thoughts. 5 reasons why I think wrestling fans are losers. So there you go, people.